Hi, before we start our interview today, I'd like everybody to please, if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and make some comments that'll help us grow our channel and keep bringing you the very best interviews with your favorite hard rock and heavy metal artists. This is Bryce Van Patten from Metal Express Radio Backstage, and today my guest is a founding member of the great hard rock quartet Girlschool, a band that took us by storm in the invasion of the new wave of British heavy metal in the early 1980s. Vocalist, guitarist Kim McAuliffe is here with me today to talk about the band's new album, WTFortyfive, which asks the question, seriously, has it been 45 years? I want to start out with, if you bumped into a younger person who hadn't heard of Girlschool's music before and you had to describe the band's sound, what would you say to them?
Well, it's just heavy rock and roll, really. Or, I mean, Lemmy always said, we are Motorhead and we play rock and roll. And I think that's pretty much what we've been doing for the past 45 years.
Definitely. Yeah. So you guys have a brand new song, Are You Ready, which was co-written by Joe Stump of Alcatrazz. Can you talk a little bit about that song and how it all came together, and the co-op of Girlschool and Alcatraz working together a little bit?
Yeah. Well, what happened was our manager was the manager of Alcatraz, even when Graham was still with them. And there was always talk of us touring together and doing all bits and pieces. And at one point there was this idea of doing this 3-month European tour on a bus, on a nightliner with us and with it. Oh my God,
Old school.
Yeah. But I thought we weren't particularly up for that. I don't think Graham would have been either. But anyway, that was... And then, of course, COVID came along, didn't it, and all that. And so at one point, me and Jackie were talking. We were thinking, it's possible we're never probably going to ever tour again, when we became so, everything went sort of so weird. But, and then, of course, when all that obviously finished, it's all like a bad dream now. Graham had left. And Doogie obviously on board, who we've sort of, known over the years, or he's been, all the sort of bands and things. And obviously Joe is still in and all that. And then, Giles just said, oh, should we still do the tour? But obviously, completely different now. And so we went, yeah. Because, well, I think we did a little British tour. I've lost track of the tours we've done now. I've lost track of everything, honestly. We're like in some sort of time warp bubble, Girlschool is, about years and things. I mean, time just sort of goes weird, got no concept of years or anything. But anyway,
when you've toured and toured and toured and toured and toured,
even every day,
45 years, correct?
Yeah, it's like funny because I just said to my other half, I said, I've been waiting 5 minutes, to do an interview. I said, that bloody 5 minutes just seems like, half an hour sometimes. But another time, 5 minutes just goes like that. You go, well, that's, anyway, time's weird. Anyway, so we did I think we did the first tour with them, a British tour, that's right, with them just after the COVID thing, which had to be cut short because, of course, we got COVID. So we missed out the last two. But then later on in that year, we did this mammoth European tour with them, which was about, 21 gigs in 25 days or something.
Wow.
God knows how many. Yeah. I mean, the mileage was madness. So we got to know each other quite well. And even though not on a nightliner, no, we all had our own hotels and things. None of us fancied that. We all like a bit of comfort, your own bed and showers and things,
Right.
But anyway, one day we had a day off in France. And they were in the middle of recording their album, and Jimmy just happened to say, "Oh, do you want to do some backing vocals? One of our tracks." And so we went, "Yeah, of course not. It's just day off. We're all just hanging out." So we just trooped into his room, saying, "Don't get mad, get even," and of course that came on their single. So then, when it came to recording our album, and we had to get all these songs together and everything, I just said to Joe, who of course is incredible. And he's always playing, so he's always knocking out riffs all over the bloody place. I said, "Come on, give me a couple of riffs." So of course he did, and then I took pieces and we wrote the song together. So awesome. That's how. Yeah. And then of course, Jackie actually played the main lead bit on it. That's not Joe. I think you can tell the difference between them anyway. But and then Joe just sent over loads of diddly widdly bits. and our producer bunged them all on. So yeah, so we're on theirs and he's on ours.
Awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the videos?
Yes. Well, of course, that was another thing as well, because we didn't realise as well, but obviously when it came out, obviously there was the cartoon thing, and then we were in it as cartoons, and we were laughing because at first we didn't realise it was supposed to be us. But anyway, we looked and going, oh yeah, look, bloody hell, all the rest of it. And so, of course, when it turned out, obviously, that Joe was on ours, the record company wanted to use the same thing, because obviously they already had us in theirs, so we were already there as cartoons, and then used him as in ours, where we have to rescue him from that horrible devil woman, which I think he was quite thrilled about. Yeah. And of course the others, I think it was hilarious as well, because they're cartoons. Everybody loved being a cartoon. We all talk about it. We think it's hilarious because we much prefer to be cartoons than actually ourselves in it. No, because it's yeah.
That's fun to be in
cartoon versions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in theirs and they're in ours. And it's I think they work well together too. You see, if their one first, and then go on to our one. I think they really work as like a little mini fun film,
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to cue them up back to back yet, but I think I'm going to now that you've just mentioned that, so that I can kind of see them working together.
Yeah.
So it's been 8 years since the band's last album, Guilty as Sin, and the band has had some lineup changes. Can you talk a little bit about the departure of Enid Williams?
Yeah. I mean, obviously that album again was 8 years ago, even though it feels like 3 or 4 to me, But
right.
Anyway, it just came to we did the album, and I don't think it was one of our greatest, but there's some good stuff on there, but things weren't working out that great, and everything came along, just bits and pieces, and we had a new manager, and she didn't really get on well with him, and he didn't get well with her, and all sort of just. I mean, it's weird when you're in a band and you've been together. So, don't forget, Enid and I grew up together. We grew up, in the same street, and we used to be in the same pram as babies. Our mums used to put us. So, we've known each other, all our lives, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's going way back.
Oh God, yeah. Well, yeah, since we were babies. I mean, literally. And so I've known her all her life, except for 1 year because I'm a year older. But anyway. It's a shame, really, because it just becomes a point where you just don't get on anymore, and it just doesn't work. So it just happened, and I think because of all the, the stuff everything was changing anyway with everything. So that was sort of it was a bit inevitable, really, because the way things were going, it was just impossible. It just became impossible. So
yeah, can you talk a little bit about the new lineup then?
The thing is, of course, is that Jackie, of course, is the new girl,
right?
Even though she's been with us for 24 years,
right?
But she's still the new girl. And of course, Tracy, who we've known for 45 years. In fact, we've known her since she was little, because she's a bit younger than us. And this is her 3rd time back in the band. And
right, she's not a newcomer at all, really.
God, no. She's been in the band twice before. Yeah, and she was on the album Take a Bite and on Not That Innocent. So, this is her 3rd time round. And I think this is it now. This is the lineup now.
Yep. So it sounds like, she's been part of the family for quite a while.
Oh, God, yeah. We've been mates all the way along, So, and she's a brilliant bass player. So, this is, as I say, so she wasn't new to us. No.
Exactly.
This is her 3rd time back.
Okay, I wanted to say, it seemed like back in the 80s, heavy metal was almost an exclusive men's club, hard rock heavy metal. And today, women are very prominent, not only just in fronting bands, but also in every other musical role. And I feel Girlschool played a role in some of these changes. Can you talk a little bit about how things were then and now for women in music?
Yeah. Well, obviously, when we first started out, we were actually, Enid and I had a little covers band called Painted Lady. Dreadful name, I know, but that was back in 77 or something, And it was only because we were only girls then, because we literally couldn't find boys to play with. And which I didn't blame them too much thinking about it, because we couldn't really play very well anyway. We had the idea we wanted to be in a band before we could actually play properly. So the idea was to actually find other like-minded girls and sort of all learn together, which is what we did. And and then of course the punk thing came along, which it meant that anybody, no matter what, could get up and do anything. People were forming their own record companies, and it was a brilliant time for creativity. And where in fact, just if you fancied being in a band, you could be in a bloody band. All you had to do was get up on stage. It was a great time. So that was sort of helped us in a way a bit, and so it was a bit more acceptable, to be females, even though there weren't that many girl bands. Well, there weren't any girl bands really.
Well, they're like the Runaways.
Oh yeah, but they were already, when we were in our little covers band, they were already going in America. And in fact, we used to cover Cherry Bomb as a laugh, when we were doing that. Yeah. So, but as far as we were concerned, they were a put together band. Even though I still think they were great. Lita Ford's brilliant, Jones, they're all brilliant. We've met them over the years, but they were sort of like a commodity put together at that point by Kim McAuliffe. Well, weren't they? They didn't just like organically grow like we did, sort of thing.
Right. They didn't grow up together as mates.
No. And they were put together as a band, whereas we put ourselves together as a band. So so we were different in that way, really. But they were never an influence, but we were aware of them. In fact, Fanny and Bertha, that must know those bands. They were more of an influence, especially on our drummer, because they were the first women bands, obviously American bands. Have you heard of them?
I have.
Yeah,
I have. I think I saw one of them on an old Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Oh right, yeah.
And I was just like, because I hadn't heard of them before, and I was kind of blown away.
Yeah. So they were the ones that when we thought about being a female band, we knew of them. They were quite inspirational. Yeah. And then of course along came Susie Quattro, in the glam era,
and today women are very prominent. I mean,
and that's what I was going to say. I've lost my train of thought there because about thinking about all these things. But what happened was when we had our first quite major success in the early 80s, we were expecting all these other females to come out, loads of girl bands to appear, but it didn't happen. It just didn't happen. We're talking about early 80s. There weren't any. And we thought, there was none really. We thought, well, this is strange. It's only been in the past 20 odd years, really, or 10 years that there's been a load. So I don't know where they were then. They weren't around, that's for sure. It's the younger ones that are coming up now that come to us after gigs. Like babies come up to they go, young girls, they go, oh, you've been such an influence. We think, yeah, we weren't even born when we first had our success. So it's weird, very strange. But it's brilliant now, yeah. There, loads of bands now, yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorites is I don't know if you've heard of Burning Witches.
Yes, I know. I had an interview yesterday, and they said about girl bands, and I said Burning Witches. They knew Burning Witches, and it's so funny because we played a gig with them. They supported us.
Oh, awesome!
Last year in Europe, yeah, they're really good. Yeah, very good.
Very fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Girlschool has a trademark sound, much like AC/DC, that fans expect to hear. And can you talk a little bit about your sound and what it means to stay true to that sound?
Well, I don't know if we've really got a sound. I just think we're a rock and roll band, really, and we just sort of play what we play. So, I mean, one of my favourite albums is Scream Blue Murder, and that's not particularly heavy. It's more rock and roll.
Right.
It's like tracks like Turns Your Head Around and stuff. That's more sort of Stonesy. But we just go with what we're feeling at the time, So.
Well, I feel it works out because when I hear your album, it sounds like Girlschool.
Brilliant! I mean? Oh well,
that's what I'm trying to say is like you guys, you stay true to your music, and you're not experimenting and changing constantly.
Yeah, I think the fun element's there, and we hope the energy's there as well. Yeah,
definitely. Well, one thing I really love about the album is the great guitar tones that you get on there. Can you talk a little bit about your rig, maybe your favorite guitar, and how you like to record?
Yeah. Well, we're lucky enough. I know a lot of bands these days can't do it. They do it a lot remote stuff, but we're lucky enough that we actually still go in the studio. So we're all together. And we've been working with a guy, Tim Hamill, for many years now.
Mm-hmm.
And his studios are like deepest, darkest Wales. But at least we all get there and, and like rent a house or something, and so we're able to actually do the studio thing still, which is, the only way that I'd like to record. I can't bear all this remote stuff. Although, of course, that's another thing that comes in handy when you get guests on over the different part of the world, But anyway, it's a normal rig for me. There's Marshalls, obviously all day Marshalls.
I could tell.
Yeah. And I play Gibsons, and I've got this. The little guitars, but anyway, the guitar's called Gibson Goddesses, and what they are is they're like exactly like Les Pauls but scaled down. So they're like girly Les Pauls basically.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Amazing, yeah. And I've actually got two of them, which I tried to get another one, but you just can't get them anymore. Gibson stopped making them. I've no idea why, because even guys love them. They're all going, "What the hell's that?" Anyway. So that's me, and then Jackie uses. Oh Christ! So what does she? She's got like this custom-made thing. She's got a couple of custom-made guitars, like Strat type things, but she'll kill me because I can't remember what they are. But yeah, but they're definitely like Strat type guitars as opposed to Les Paul types. Yeah, but still with the old Marshalls. Yeah, definitely can't beat it.
Yeah, it definitely shows in the sound. I heard right away, and I knew that these were mic'd off. I felt immediately that was mic'd off. Marshall,
in the studio
with a Les Paul, not some digital amplitude thing like that.
Yeah. Oh no! It's all like mic'd amps and mic'd, drums, everything. Yeah. Oh yeah, real.
done the real way, the old way.
Oh god, yeah.
Well, are there plans for touring to support the new album?
Well, I'm hoping so, because it does seem a bit strange when you've got an album coming out and we've got such a brilliant response to it that we're not actually touring with it. But apparently they're now working on tours for next year, possibly with Alcatraz again, which is great fun for us to, because we're like, we're such great mates. And it's always a great laugh with them. So it's quite nice when you're with somebody that you like, because everything's funnier,
Absolutely.
And so, apparently... next year is going to be the touring year, so that's going to be 46 years.
Yeah, are they working on something to get you over to the States again?
Yeah, well, apparently we're supposed to be coming over for a short tour in November, which seems to me a bit like short notice, but they're saying about just a 3-week sort of little thing somewhere.
Little mini tour.
And then, we're definitely booked for a festival called Hell's Heroes, which I think is down in Texas for March. So there's going to be something around that. So, yeah. And then they're already booking, I know, another British thing for February. And then we're doing Europe again, I dare say. So, yeah, it's weird. The album's coming out now, but we're not going to be promoting it next year. So,
well, I'm hoping that you guys can make it to the West Coast and up to Portland.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got loads of mates over the West Coast. Yeah, Long Beach. So, yeah. We can't come see Pammy and Debbie and everybody. Yeah.
Awesome. So what else is in store then? Besides, a few tour dates, do you have more videos coming up for 2023?
Well, I don't know. Have you not? Well, we've got 2 more videos. It Is What It Is and Cold Dark Heart. So have you not seen those ones? Yeah, they're out.
Yeah, I saw Cold Dark Heart.
Yeah. And It Is What It Is. Yeah, and that's actually us on it, which we're not too thrilled about. But I guess you have to see what we look like at some point. We prefer the cartoon versions.
Yeah, I thought of that a long time ago. I thought, because most of us that do what I do are also musicians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, like, I just keep getting older and crustier, and at some point, I think I need to do something like the Archies, where I'm now a cartoon persona that doesn't age anymore, right?
Yeah. What do you play? Guitarist?
My main instrument's the drums, but I play guitar and keyboards as well.
You don't seem mad enough to be a drummer.
Maybe it's because I do all the other stuff too, but drumming is the thing that I sit down and I play without thinking.
Yeah. Oh, right. Excellent.
You know what I mean? I don't have to think about anything. I just
yeah.
hear the music and it all comes automatic.
Yeah.
Whereas
Huh?
when I'm working
Great
on guitar or keyboards, I have to practice and plan and think.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, brilliant stuff. Yeah.
So is there anything that we missed, Kim, that you would like to say?
Yes, there is. Talking of female bands, of course, I've got to have a shout out for Thunder Mother.
Thunder Mother?
Yeah, you've got to check them out because, of course, Philippa, they're doing really, really well over here. And Philippa Nassil, who's a guitarist of Thunder Mother, she co-wrote one of the tracks on her album.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, she's brilliant. So, yeah, they're definitely a girl band to watch out for. Yeah. They've just been supporting the Scorpions all over the place, and they're playing to thousands of people. And yeah, we better watch our backs because they're coming up pretty quick.
Shoot, I was going to ask you something else. I guess I don't remember what I was going to say. Wait, yes. The formats for your new album. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, apparently it's and cassette as well, yellow cassette, which obviously we haven't got, but I'm gonna try and nab one, and it's in yellow vinyl and normal vinyl, of course, which I do have a yellow vinyl one. I seem to be the only one that has it, and because I think they're pretty much sold out actually, but so yeah, it's vinyl, cassette and CD, obviously.
Yeah, I've never, I still feel that CD has the best audio quality because I remember when CDs came out, all of a sudden I heard musical parts in songs that I've heard for years that I never heard those parts before. But the advantage of vinyl or cassette is someone's going to play a whole side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to get your whole message. They're not going to be skipping around from song to song, which I think is the biggest problem with digital music is people play 40 seconds.
Oh, God, when I was young, I used to love when I got my album, you'd literally sit there and you would literally sit there and play it from beginning to end. Yeah. So that was, quite exciting.
Every time, right?
Yeah.
and the albums were planned to where the song that started one side, you had a reason for every one of those placements to where the song that ended that side, kind of wrap things up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not so much these days. Obviously, because completely different days. But there you go. That's what happens.
Well, I really want to thank you for being my guest, Kim, and it's been a real honor. And I encourage fans to pick up the new album. How do you actually say the title of that?
Well, there's some swearing in there, but I don't normally swear. But if I'm allowed to swear. Of course, it's what the fuck.
45?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we say. So it's what the 45. Yeah.
So how does it feel 45 years in? I mean,
well, as I said, we have no concept of time, so
it's quite a milestone. So.
Yeah. Well, we're obviously very proud. So and
absolutely,
people ask us how we've managed to do it, and my stock answer is, well, it's a mixture of stupidity and stubbornness. So.
And I would probably have to say your longtime friendship too.
Well, of course, yeah. Of course, me and Denise, we've been in it since day one. So yeah, and obviously we lost our beautiful Kelly.
That was sad.
Years ago now, whatever, at the age of 49, which is obviously no age.
Incredibly young. Incredibly.
Yeah, we'd still be mates. So yeah, that's sad. One of the saddest times for us. Yeah.
Well. I encourage everybody to pick up the new record. It's excellent. It deserves a play and to be heard, and get it in any format that you like. And and thanks again, Kim.
Yeah. Cheers. Is it Bryce or Bryce?
What's that?
Your name?
Oh, my name is Bryce.
Bryce. Yeah, I said Bryce. I said no.
I'm so sorry.
Bryce or Bryce? That's what I'm saying.
It's Bryce, and thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
And
I thought it might be Bryce, but I thought I better check.
You got it right. So
brilliant.
Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you guys over here on the West Coast as soon as we can.
Well, hopefully we'll catch up.
All righty. Thanks, Kim.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, Bryce.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. If you like the content we bring you about the heavy metal world, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us grow the channel.